I'm reading this book called Lineage of Grace by Francine Rivers, which is about the stories of women in Jesus' lineage that you would not expect to be there because their stories are pretty scandalous. So we're talking Rahab, Tamar, Ruth, Bathsheba, Mary. And I have loved reading the book, even though sometimes I'm like cringing at some of the ages of these girls, basically girls, in these stories, because obviously, to be historically accurate, marriages and things like that used to happen at a completely different age than they do now, right? But regardless of that, this author has just done such an amazing job at humanizing these characters, even though the stories that she's writing for them are pretty much fiction, besides, tying in their stories that appear in the Bible, she is contextualizing what could have been their background. And it has been so amazing to see these women, these Bible characters, as people, because sometimes we see them show up in stories, and I know when we hear the name Bathsheba, we think, oh my gosh, the other woman, right? That's the story. David called her, right? And she was married. She ended up getting pregnant. He ended up sending her husband to a death sentence, right? That is all crazy. And usually we're like, oh my gosh, she's totally a Bathsheba or whatever. I never said that, but it's usually used in that context, y'all. You know what I mean? I had no idea how the author was going to use her talents to kind of contextualize this story, because to us it's like, oh my gosh, they were in an affair, and to this day adultery is very scandalous. If you're in a marriage, you cheat on someone, it's very hurtful to the other person, and it's still very scandalous today. So I had no idea how she was going to contextualize that story, and she did a phenomenal job at making these characters feel so relatable, to the point that you were like, wow, yes, that was like a huge mistake. They fell into temptation, but like that could have been me. If that was my story, right? Even though we don't know that these are their stories. If this was my story, what she painted the picture to be, oh my gosh, that could have totally been me. In fact, it is me every day when I fall short. And it is just a great book to kind of remind ourselves that when we judge the actions of some characters in the Bible as like, oh my gosh, repugnant, terrible, whatever, we need to remember that's us too. And we make excuses all day long about how we would never do that or blah, blah, blah. But in the right context, we all can. So check out the book. Highly recommend. It's been great reading it.